Hello everyone and welcome back to the Catholic Gamer Dude Plays Kerbal Space Program. It's been, let me see, it's been about a week or two since I've last played this game. Hopefully it won't be too much interruption in the broadcast. The biggest thing though has been the fact that I have done a lot of the tutorials specifically about getting into orbit, and I've learned quite a few things since then. First and foremost though, we do not have the necessary components for the most part. So we're going to go ahead and just grab a few of the things that I saw that we definitely needed. So, at least from the tutorial, because they have a couple of very specific things that they use to build this stuff. So, first and foremost, grab ourselves an MK1, a parachute, grab that sucker. Now, we're going to focus primarily on just getting through our contract to actually get into a stable orbit. So, first things first, get ourselves a decoupler. Get on here. It was a very informative tutorial, and I've been doing a bit of research in addition to that. 200, 400. Okay, what is this? Oh, is that, I guess that's like the tiniest fuel tank. Interesting. Oh, fuselage. Oh, okay, no, this is for flight, space planes. So we'll grab ourselves a small one here, and then we'll grab ourselves a small one here. Let me see. Do I have that right? Do you think? And then I think that's more correct. Okay. Worst case, we'll have a little bit of extra fuel. So I have a, let's see, swivel, and then 30. Which one is which? Problem with the tutorial is that it has, I think that's a swivel that I want. Reliant has more blast, I think. So this Terrier engine is the one that is much more efficient in vacuum than it is in the atmosphere, and that's what you typically use for orbital maneuvers once you get into space. So put another stack decoupler on here. I learned a couple of things. One of the things that we're having is that rookie mistake, which I am, is that if you put winglets like up here, that actually creates drag, and that's why our rockets kept flipping over while we were lifting off. One of the reasons. Let's see. The other thing in particular is something that I learned, and this is once again something that people forget, is that if you put the winglets on the bottom, that's where you add the stability. So you think of like a dart, how it has the little wings at the back to keep the thing stable. It's the same principle. So with that in mind, I have 2 more tanks here. And then we will have the swivel engine. Okay, okay, yeah, we definitely want this one because we definitely need to perform the gravity turn. So this is the other thing too, is that you need this. If you look at the bottom here, there's this gimbaling that it does for 3 degrees. That's how you actually make sure you can steer the stupid thing. Most of these other ones are just basically a straight up firing. So it's a basic jet. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's something else. Anyways, moving on. Gonna do ourselves a little radial decoupler here too. And so what I'm thinking is that for this episode, we're gonna at least try to get into orbit. And then once we do that, I think I'm gonna need to do a couple of contracts to kind of help out with our cash reserves. Because we've been spending quite a bit of cash trying to fulfill this contract and have not made much progress. So, here you go, solid rocket fuel booster on there. Closer, nope, too far. And that's about there, I think. Cool. Are those attached properly? I'm not sure about that one. There we go. Phew. Okay. That's about as I think that's good enough. All right, aerodynamic cones. And now here's one other thing. Actually, before I do that, should have the winglets. Don't remember that being the same winglet. That's a basic fin. That's a basic winglet. Surface area. That's a tail fin. That's not the same thing. Swept wings, wing connector type E. Tail connector type. Interesting. Okay. These are not going to give us the same stability because these are not the same winglets, but we will go ahead and do our best to add them anyway. Let's see here. But I think that should be sufficient. There's one other thing that what I'm doing right now is setting down the throttle a bit. And the thing is that I suspected back when I did this, and I was pretty much right, is that we were going too fast up into the atmosphere. But I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to slow us down. And the tutorial told me how. What we're doing is that we're throttling back our thrust limiter, which basically means that the rockets that we have here at the base are just simply too powerful for the payload, which is almost nothing up here. So what that does is that it creates this wind effects that you'll see on there. And what that basically is that that's the air drag that's happening because we're going too fast through the atmosphere. So the way that we resolve that is by just lowering our thrust. That means that we have the same amount of fuel, we have less thrust, but that means we have a much smoother ascent, at least theoretically. Now, one more thing we're going to do is just orient the ship like this, because that helps orient the steering so that all I have to do is, in order to perform the gravity turn, is to press W. So that'll be good. Now, for the last thing, this engine, the other thing that we want to do is we want to have an even distribution of thrust. So that means we actually want all three of these engines to fire at the same time. So that's how I'm staging this out now. Then these things decouple, and then that decouples, that fires, and then we just get up there. Okay, so this is pretty much the craft that is built in the tutorial. So we're gonna say orbit or bust. I cannot type today. Okay, MK4, I think. We'll save this sucker. Do we have a bunch of to orbit? Yeah, MK5. Okay, I've got plenty of them. Like I said, it's been a while since I've looked at this. Let's go ahead and launch this sucker. Okay. Light of the horizon. Last check for staging. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. 3, 2. Whoa, wait. Throttle up. 3, 2, 1, go. Oops, we're tilting. Oh, because I forgot to turn on SAS. This is bad. Okay, well. Alright. Okay. Come on back. This is not the smoothest of launches. And we're still going too fast. I'm not quite sure what I did wrong this time, but I can't seem to actually even get a gravity turn going. But let's see here. I think because the orientation is wrong. Yeah, that's what it is. All right. Revert flight, revert to vehicle assembly bay. I think it will do this the other way. Wait, okay, this is oriented this way, this is oriented this way. Let's see if that makes a difference. The other thing too is that I gotta turn on SAS. This is the only time I'm gonna revert. I'm still experimenting with this a little bit. Maybe we might revert 1 or 2 more times. I can't afford to keep losing a rocket every time this thing blows up. But I think that is more the orientation that I remember. So let's see here. Throttle up. And then let's go. There we go. Much smoother. And the other thing too is that we want to keep the prograde marker in this area, mostly because you want to keep your target heading near the prograde marker, and that's because if you do it too aggressively, you're gonna flip over. We're still going way too fast, and they collided with each other. But that's okay. We'll get out here. Whoa. See if that makes a difference. Still not as smooth as we'd like it, but that's okay. Still much better, but we still have way too much drag. Wind resistance. We just got too much thrust, I guess. Then we'll kind of let that cool off a little bit, and then see if that makes a difference. Only 44. And I think we'll just settle in here. We'll just keep an eye on the fuel. We still got going way faster than we should be. We should have had a much smoother descent. But we'll just keep an eye on the fuel and see if it makes a difference. Still, this is a much smoother takeoff than what was before, and it's much closer to it. I think the other thing, too, is that it had a bunch of, like, solar batteries and RCS rockets and things like that, and that may have added some extra resistance. But I think we're going to achieve this anyway. Just based on the amount of fuel that we have. Once we get to apoapsis of 90, 70, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 80. Cool. We got plenty of fuel left to perform the orbit burn. Excellent. All right, so once we warp to, the next plan is once we warp to about here, we can then perform an orbit burn. This is good stuff. I'm already feeling a lot better about this. Did go quite according to plan. I'm gonna have to take a look at, see if there's a way that I can actually do predictive thrusting. Because the thing is that what would be really good is if I could just, oh, there we are. Music says we're in space. But, I mean, we've done it pretty much. We're pretty close to it. We haven't achieved a stable orbit yet. But, we're pretty close. We're pretty close. I can feel it. I think this one's going to be the one where we do it. Almost at apoapsis. Oh gosh. Now I've done it. Okay, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay. And then burn. Cut. That is not a stable orbit just yet. We're a little too far down. Let's get a little closer. Because the thing is that the... sorry, I'm kind of spacing out because I'm trying to keep it all in my head at the moment. We want to be close enough because the most efficient part of your burn is going to be at apoapsis. So we want to get as close as we can and then burn prograde. Alright, I think that's close enough. So let's go ahead and burn. X. Periapsis, 83,000. Apoapsis. Cool. We are in orbit. Isn't that great? It's a little dark because we totally forgot. We totally forgot to do any kind of electrical power. Crew report. Crew report in space near Kerbal. So very much in space right now. Seem mostly below us. We did not bring any science because the tutorial didn't have any science in it. So I completely forgot to do that anyway. Which is kind of sad. We can't EVA out, can we? Oh, we can. Dude. EVA report. From space just above Kerbal and shore. Oh, that's so cool. Keep experiment. Go back and board. SAS was off while Jebediah was out. I'm too gutless to actually have Jebediah go out and, you know, attempt to, what's the word? To go out and actually jet around, because every time I've done that, it's taken like 45 minutes to get back into the hatch. So, but here we are. We have achieved orbit. It's a beautiful thing. Now it's time to get back down. So, because how circular are we? We're pretty circular, I think. So, and actually, I think the space center is actually over here. So we probably want to come in. Ooh, SAS. Probably want to stabilize or come in right about there. So we're just gonna go ahead and burn. Cut. That's a little too much. It's pretty steep. The thing is, you don't want to come in too steep, or else the worst trajectory that you can have for re-entry is straight down. So we're gonna go ahead and burn just a little bit. Perfect. All right. So we're just gonna ride this out. Let's set the min pressure on the parachute. Let's see. Let's go back and just ride this out. Nope, time warp 1. That's probably because we're close enough to the map. Yeah, we are actually in Kerbin's atmosphere now. Strictly speaking. So we're gonna find the retrograde marker, and then we're just gonna ride her out. I'm feeling really good right now. This was kind of a monkey on my back. I'll just go ahead and let the atmosphere once we get the gentlest of curves. As we hit Atmo, the air pressure will, or the atmosphere will actually help slow us down. The moment doesn't seem to be doing too much, but once we get to about 40,000, you'll start seeing the difference. Hopefully. At least that's what all the guides said. Otherwise, I've just stranded somebody and we'll have to do this again. But I think this'll work. This'll probably work. I hope it works. Let's see here. Coming up on, oops, right here. Probably should have kept my engine if I had known. Okay, so our speed is going down, which is expected. Okay, now it's really starting to come down. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the stuff. So as you can see, the reason why to do this is because we want the, as you can see, the periapsis is actually falling, and that's because we are actually approaching re-entry. All right, so now we are no longer in a stable orbit around Kerbal. We are actually going down. Actually wasn't a stable orbit once one of the, either the apoapsis or the periapsis falls down to about, there we go. Now we're basically in free fall. But the idea is that you don't want to go straight down. You actually want the atmosphere to kind of slow your roll. And so that's what's going on now. And also is that if you go straight down, then the only thing that's stopping you is the full force of the atmosphere, and that's how things tend to burn up and die. So in this case, we have a slower burn. Atmosphere is helping us slow down. And, you know, it's basically an air braking maneuver of sorts. But it's a much gentler curve. As you can see, the flames are not going insane right now, and that's because of the fact that we're coming in at a gentle angle. In fact, we're coming in basically almost parallel to Kerbal, which is the good part. We'll see how much money we made off of this, but I think after all the failed rockets, we have to make some effort to, and re-entry, yeah. We'll have to make some effort to figure out what it, where was I going with this? I'll have to make some effort to get some cash, and that means shilling out and doing some of those other efforts. Maybe I should have put a heat shield on this sucker. I think we should be fine, though. It just sounds awful. Right? Jebediah, you're fine, right? You're good. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Worst part of the trip is the way down. Okay. We are way over the ocean, so I'm very curious. We're going to land somewhere very different. But that's okay. We can get out, do an EVA. But it's all good. Most of this trip is on the way down, apparently. That's only because I'm terrified. Hopefully we'll hit the mountains. An EVA on the mountain, get a crew report. Or, yeah. Just like that. But I feel pretty pleased with that, actually, because that re-entry was pretty smooth. we'll see about possibly landing in the mountains and taking a port. Crew hatch. Crew report. Cool. A little bit more science there. That always helps. The biome up here. We're gonna launch our parachute, stage our parachute so that it will come out. I think I will do it at like 4,000. Hopefully that gives us enough time to slow down because I'd have no idea how high these mountains are. Anytime now, I'm getting a little nervous about it. There we go. Whew! There. Whew, okay. That was a little nerve-wracking. We're a bit higher up than I thought we were when I set that. So this is going to take a little bit to get down. But, any landing that you can walk away from. Some of these are pretty high up, so it's probably the good call anyway. Was not expecting crew report. Cancel. Let's go ahead and take care of that. Wait till we get down. Whew. So one other thing, I guess, while we wait for descent, is that you're going to see another game on this channel. I'm going to be resurrecting Prison Architect. And the reason why I'm going to be doing that is because this one mission is already taking me about 30 minutes. And while I love Kerbal Space Program, today's one of the few days that I knew I actually had a little bit of time. But there needs to be a game on the channel where I can play for variable length. This one is not it. So I'm going to add Prison Architect in the rotation at least until XCOM 2 War of the Chosen comes out at the end of this month. And then I'll probably replace Prison Architect with that and play campaign. Because I've been wanting to do an XCOM campaign on this channel for so long, and it just has never worked out. So that's the plan for the long run and the short run. As far as all the other work that I do, that's to be determined. But we're going to do what we can. So we come in here. We're above sea level, so by about a little less than 3,000 meters. So it's a good thing we actually set that because the parachute triggers the meter thing is at sea level. So we get out here. Jebediah is space let go. And then we'll just go ahead and grab and let's plant a flag. Yes, sir. Oh, all right. Here, plant site name, orbit, orbit turn. Return. At this historic occasion, plaque text. We came down here. I don't know. EVA report 2.4 science. Good stuff. All right. Board that. Recover vessel. We're done. There we go. Science gathered. 3.5 science, 8.5, 2.4. Recovery vessel returned from Kerbal orbit. 23.9 science earned. Parts. Well, it didn't get all that much back. And then the crew. Jebediah did earn a XP gain promotion, so that's good stuff. We are done. Let's have a look here. We earned a metric ton of cash for that one. Let's go back to mission control, see what we can do. There's explore the moon. Fly to the moon incomplete. Gather scientific data from the moon incomplete. Return to Kerbal from a flyby of the moon. Incomplete. Still, you earn quite a bit of cash for that. So you also get quite a bit of cash as an advance. So that's interesting. However, Do we need to do any of this R&D stuff? I think I want to clear some of this stuff out just for completeness sake. So we did do a focus survey. Some of these are kind of boring, but all M16 parachute into flight above Kerbal. We did that one on the previous attempt. The swivel liquid fuel engine on escape trajectory out of Kerbal. So we test the escape trajectory. Interesting. Okay, radial mount chute in flight over Kerbal. I wonder if the test, it says as a test. We want you to test it. And then, interesting. I should have clicked on that. MK12 radial mount. That's the one we're just looking at. Test. I'm not sure if that means we have to stage it or we just run a test up there. So that's the only thing that's kind of fuzzy about those. But that's not our problem for right now. We'll do it next time. So, get out of here. Tracking station. Orbits. Let's see. Let's see. Patched conics visible in map. Max DSM powered. I'm not sure what to upgrade. Kerbal EVAs can collect surface samples. Resource transfer available. Interesting. That's the astronaut complex. 12 unlimited active Kerbals. Kerbals can perform EVAs. Kerbals on EVA can place flags. That's slightly misleading. Of course, we did an EVA, but we can only do that on Kerbal. Max contracts. Tracking station upgrade required for flight planning. Interesting. Okay. And the launch pad. We don't really need any weight upgrade, I think, at the moment. I don't know about that. They may be true. The tracking station, 150,000 for patched conics visible in map. Let's just upgrade this sucker. And then unknown object tracking. I'm not sure. Administration building. Max active strategies, max commitment 60%. I'll have to do some research into the administrative building as well because that one is something that we'll want to look at. And as far as flight planning and stuff like that, I don't know what any of that means. But we'll learn about that later. That's not your problem. That's my problem. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been that Catholic Gamer Dude playing Kerbal Space Program. We made it into orbit. Best part. So next time, we'll take a look. We'll see what we can do. We may do a flyby of the moon. We'll have to see. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.